kingdom come. When I'm rolling with the queen, I don't want no phone to ring, but the conversing till the light of morning. I'm she rolling with the king.
Welcome back to the Now Morning Show, of course, this being our Father's Day edition. And we're going to be talking about the secret to being a good father with someone who has 7 biological children of his own, but so many more media children he has taught over the years and continue to teach as he does what a father will do. And that gentleman is none other than Mr. Errol Fabien from the Single Fathers Association of TNT. Errol, good morning.
Good morning. It's so good to be here.
I know.
Thanks for having me.
You saw some of your children in set this morning.
Yes.
Errol, so, I mean, we're talking about being a good father.
Yeah.
We have of course, the definition of a father, but in your years of being that sort of patriarch, what do you think a father signifies?
Well, safety, security, comfort, gentleness, toughness, all-knowing, you know, all these things. When people turn to their father, they want all of these things and then some, you know. And a successful father, I don't know how to measure that. You know, I guess only children can say if I had a great daddy or if I didn't have a good daddy. But it's a very tough call, you know. And it is a vocation more than anything else. It has to be something that from your heart, from the depths of your heart, you're into this. Yeah. And because it's going to throw you for a tailspin many times, you know. Like you said, I have 7 of my own, but I know there's one of my children who's not happy with me. I know that, you know, and we try, we deal, we talk, we reach out, you know, but we all are where we are, because there was a time I wasn't happy with my daddy, and I'm number 7 of 11, yeah? But today, if you ask me, my father is my hero. Yeah.
So then how do we break those, as you would say, those generational curses? You weren't happy with your father. Now you have one of your children who isn't happy with you. How do you think parents could sort of break that general curse of not living up to what their children would have expected?
If you try to do that, you fail. You cannot try to live up to your children's expectations. We have to live up, I think, as fathers, to being the best daddy that we can be. I have 6 who are happy with me, you know, and 1 not, you know. So, and when I say not happy with me, we have a great relationship. When we meet, we hug, we kiss. He's a 32-year-old man, and we kiss when we bounce up, you know, and we hug. I saw him yesterday when we hug. I was parting, and like he didn't want to let me go, you know. And there's so much that is unsaid between parents and children. But I think the biggest hurdle for us to cross as parents is not only letting our children know how we feel when we are angry, but letting them know how we feel when we're not, when we're happy with them. It's so easy, especially for fathers and young men, to let them know when they hit the mark, when we're not happy with them. But we have to deliberately get it into our system to say, good job, son. I love how you're doing. But
what about instances where, let's say, for example, how do you teach a father or parent to apologize? Because remember, they are the adults, and it's not do as I say, but what I, well, not do what I do, but as I say. And so how do you, when you make a mistake or you slip up, you are allowed to go back to that child and apologize because you, as the adult, realized you were wrong?
No. I don't think in every situation a parent should apologize, but there are situations when we should. And it's about being honest with yourself and knowing that child. You see, every child requires a different type of parenting. You could have a pair of twins, and each one will demand a different thing from you as a parent, for you to reach into a different treasure trove to pull out something to deal with that child. So when we know ourselves, then we know when we have to apologize and when we don't need to apologize. But apologizing teaches our children to apologize. You know, when we display, and whether we like it or not, our children are mini us, Our children are mini us. And if there's a particular behavior you want to see from your children, you have to display that behavior. You could talk till you're green in the face. It is our behavior that will determine how our children behave.
Yeah. Let's look at the mistakes, and I'm asking you this in particular, Errol, because I know that you are a recovering alcoholic, and I know that your children may not have been proud of you at that time in your life. How do you own up to your mistakes and ensure your children that you are back on the right track?
Well, again, children learn what they live. So they have to see it. No amount of, well, you know, I don't do that again, could work. They have to see. They have to see that you're moving in a direction. There was a time I would hide. I didn't want my children to see me. And I got to a place where I wanted to become somebody who my children would say, that is my daddy there. You know, and it's about working with our children, because we are not perfect and we shouldn't look for perfection in our children either. But at the same time, we have to show that we are constantly evolving and that we've empowered ourselves to evolve. A lot of people feel they have to remain stuck in one way, but no, we could evolve. And when our children see us evolving, they are empowered to so do.
I know a lot of people say that parenting, it doesn't come with a manual. You learn as you go, right? You've been in this thing long, Errol. Just a few tips for fathers to help them, you know, not even get on the right track, but just to help them deal at this point in time. We're now coming out of a pandemic, so many external factors happening. How can you still ensure that you have that relationship with your children?
Be present. That's the main thing a father has to do, be present. And that doesn't mean you have to physically be there. You have to be present. I have a WhatsApp chat with my children, and there's chatter going on every day, you know. And sometimes children don't need to hear anything. They just need to know that you are there. And a father's role is irreplaceable. I was a single father for most of my children's lives. And being present was a tall task for me, because I worked as an entertainer. I didn't have an 8 to 4, so I was out different hours, different times, and mostly at night. And there was a lot of traveling I had to do. But I would make sure and touch base all the time. And wherever there's an event where I could take my children, it's me and my string band come in. When I go to do a family day or whatever it is, everybody come in, you know. It is very important to, in the madness, take them to the beach. Take them to the movies, take them out to eat, you know. If you can't afford to take them out to eat, have a cook at home or whatever it is. But we have to do things with our children, because they're learning. And we don't want them to learn from the street, because the street waiting to teach them too, you know, and school waiting to teach them too. And those lessons are important, but the main lessons must come from mommy and daddy. Most important. And daddies, you have to be present. Do
you think that fathers get a lot of flack for not showing up for their children? And I say that because you're a member of the Single Fathers Association. I know that you and Rondell and members of the team have been doing the work to get people to realize that there are single fathers who are pulling their weight, right, as it relates to their children. But there's also an understanding, and worldwide it is, that fathers don't show up. And so how can you change that narrative to show that there are fathers doing the work?
Well, the only way to change the narrative is for fathers to be present and be vocal. I'm sure if you're driving to work one morning or so, and if you're observant, you'll see daddies with the children, taking them with the lunch kit, moving, going to do what we have to do, grandfathers also. And the reason why there's such an awful stigma attached to fathers not being present is because of how damaging an absent father is in a child's life, be it boy or girl. Children, research has shown statistically, globally, that children who grow up in a double-parent home, or at least a home where the father is present, are less likely to be juvenile delinquents and less likely to end up in jail and less likely to end up on the wrong side of the law. And that is why there's such a spotlight on fathers to be there and to do our role, because the society understands that for it to really blossom and to move into a place where all are comfortable, daddies have their role to play.
And Errol, before you go, this is a two-parter. Bouncing off of that question, do you still believe that there are not fathers present? There is that sort of issue that's happening. And I know you keep saying be present, but what else can fathers really do to show up for their children?
Well, both things. What was the first part of the question?
The first one is, do you think there is still an issue where fathers are not showing?
Absolutely. There are many instances of it, you know, and a lot of fathers who turn up who are not satisfied with the amount of times that they turn up, you know, and wanting to do more. But what's the second part?
The second part is, I know you've been saying be present, but I want to drive the point home for who may be listening.
We have to more than be present, which is the main thing.
Yes.
But we have to provide. We have to provide. We have to wake up, put on the clothes, and go out there and work or find the work and provide, because provision is very important for our household. We have to listen. Daddies have to be a great listener. Listening is very important. We have to scold. And we have to direct, you know, and it doesn't mean picking up a belt or a whip. And there are circumstances when some parents feel a need to, but only that parent will know that situation. Very importantly, when you need to scold and direct, that you don't do it in anger, that we deal with it, because we are men, we are physically strong, and we could hurt a child, you know. So we have to get our thoughts together and come back and say, you know, be able to communicate and say, when you did this, I didn't like it, or this is the consequence, or whatever it is, and deal with it like that. But also nurturing and loving. And although they don't want it, you have to kiss them when you drop them to school, you know.
Yes.
You see these young men when they reach in front of the school, they don't, bust a kiss on them, they have to handle it, because public displays of affection from fathers to children is very important for children to know you have their back. You have their back, you know. I get called in school plenty of time for my children, you know. But I have to reach. I have to reach. And I come to defend my child, but I'm not there to encourage my child in anything that's against the rules in the school, you know. So we'll have one conversation in front of the teachers, and you better believe you're having a next conversation going home or when you come home, because at the end of the day, I don't condone wrongdoing, but no matter what my children do, I am there to support you.
And that's
no matter what, you know I'll be there. I wouldn't agree with it, but I'll be there.
And that's how we're going to end, Errol. I know we could talk for hours about this topic, but let me thank you so much for coming in.
Pleasure.
Let me also wish you a happy Father's Day. I know you're getting that extra holiday on a Monday. Lucky you. And I hope that you get to see your children sometime this weekend.
Absolutely.
Yes,
just
and have a good one.
One love. Take care.
And that was Mr. Errol Fabien from the Single Fathers Association, just sharing some tips on being a good father, of course, with his wealth of experience. Here on the Now Morning Show, we're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us.
I do the thing right, big man thing, I do the thing right. I do the thing right, big man thing, I do the thing right. I do the thing right, big man thing, I do the thing